Thank you, Brigadier. Would security be one of the considerations?
Yes. For example, if you seize a firearm from an arrested person, you can't, moving that person from the point of arrest to the police station, you can't let that person carry the firearm. I mean, there's danger. Cell phones as well, you might tend to think that if the cell phone is left with the arrested person to the detention, all manner of things. Yes, security does form part of the reasons, my lord.
Thank you. Thank you, Brigadier. Now, according to information that is on record, Sergeant Mokhane and the late Sergeant Mabena having received information with regard to the complicity of Mr. Ntanzi in this case, approached him in June 2020 at Phuket. On the 16th of June 2020 at Phuket. Do you still remember that?
I'm aware, yes, that he was arrested by the two members on the 16th of June 2020, my lord. That is correct.
And then the information that is on record goes on to say that they had an interaction with him, upon which they then called you and you then went to meet them at, that's now on the 18th. You then went to meet them at Sibanye Gold Mine, somewhere in Western area.
That is correct, my lord.
And it is your testimony that prior to, if I recall well, we have had massive evidence in this case. Sometimes you're bound to make mistakes here and there. Now, if I followed your evidence well, is that you then met him, Mr. Ntanzi, for the first time at Phuket.
At Carltonville, my lord. I met him for the first time. That part is correct, but it was in Carltonville, not in Phuket. In Carltonville. Yes.
I'm sorry to intercept you. I actually wanted to say at the Sibanye Gold Mine in Carltonville, not Phuket.
Absolutely, that's correct, my lord.
Yes. Now, according to Sergeant Mokhane, when they started to talk to him, yourself and Sergeant Mukhula, you were not there. It was only him and Mabena.
Well, if Sergeant Mokhane said that, then I wasn't there. I can only relate to my presence when I arrived and met accused two, my lord. What happened prior, I think Sergeant Mokhane and Mabena will be in a better position to deal with it.
That is correct. And according to Mokhane, upon your arrival, they introduced you to accused number 2, and they then gave you a space that you should talk to accused number 2, if my memory serves me well.
I'm not sure how Mokhane put it, my lord, but yes, I was introduced to accused 2. I introduced myself, and then we carried on with the interview.
Thank you. Now, was there any particular briefing that Mokhane gave you with regard to the conversation that they had with accused number 2 upon your arrival at Carlton, where you met them?
No, there wasn't, my lord. So the first briefing I got from Mokhane, if I put it in sequence, was on the 16th in Sergeant Mabena. They could have briefed me collective or individually. That indicated that they have arrested accused 2 in relation to Wanongoma matter. So that was the first briefing. I was then informed on the 18th that they are going to Carltonville. That's the briefing that I got. It was telephonical. And in that, they will also try and follow the alibi of the cases that they were investigating in Carltonville. That's when, my lord, I asked, because it was brought to my attention that he seems to be saying he's at work, something to that effect. And that's when I said, look, let me meet you in Carltonville, because this aspect relating to this matter is something that I want to handle myself. Then they can carry on with their matters. So that is the brief I got, but not when I arrived. It was prior to my arrival telephonically.
You know, when you're building a house, you start with one brick and you lay the foundation. Well, first you select the land. You do the plans for the house. How many rooms is it going to be? Where is this light going to be? Where is the house going to be facing? How many rooms? And. You know the drift, okay? But you can't start by putting the roof. I mean, where would the roof go if there's no house? You have to build the house first. You have to start at the foundation. You can't skip that process. You could build it on the wrong foundation. That's a story for another day. But Brigadier Gininda said something, and I love this approach that Umnisi is taking, starting at the very, very basic bottom. He started us through with the security, what security happens when anyone is arrested, not just Bongani Ntanzi, anyone. The Brigadier gave that answer. And then now we are at, so when Bongani Ntanzi was arrested by Sergeant Mohane and the late Sergeant Mabena, that was on the 16th of June 2020. You were nowhere involved in that. Nope, not at all. Not my story. Not my monkey, not my circus. I wasn't there. But surprisingly, you were only briefed. They briefed you telephonically. Yep. It was a telephonic briefing that Gininda received. And then in that briefing, and this had to do with the Nongoma matter, right? So at that point in time, remember that Zungunizer, yes, I'm taking you way back. Remember that Zungunizer calls Bongani Ntanzi Umafiga. Okay? Stay with me. How did the Brigadier know that this Bongani Ntanzi is Mafiga? Okay, I'll wait for your comments on that one. Part 2 of that, Sergeant Mohane and Sergeant Mampena arrested Bongani Ntanzi for the Nongoma matter on the 16th of June. And then they told Gininda about it. And then on the 18th of June, they called him again and said, hey, we're on our way to Carltonville. And Gininda said, I'll meet you there. I will meet you there. What were you going to do there? Because Bongani Ntanzi and you have never met before, right? We're going with the Brigadier story. They've never met before. So why did he need to see him at Carltonville? Why did he need to see him at his place of work? What does Bongani Ntanzi's place of work have to do with the Brigadier who has never met Bongani Ntanzi and they've never had a conversation about the SENZO MEYIWA trial? Why did they have to meet at work? So you're telling me they met at work at the car park because Gininda said, I want to be ready to go to the HR department and verify his alibi, that I haven't even spoke to him about because I've never met this man in my life. But I have a gut feeling that if I meet with him at the work parking lot, he's going to confess, 1, and 2, he's going to tell me about the 26th of October, 2014, and then we're going to have to verify his alibi. Are you guys picking up what I'm putting down? Does this make sense to you? That Bongani Ntanzi had never met the Brigadier, but coincidentally, the Brigadier was at his place of work, ready to seek an alibi. Has Mnisi cracked the case? I would have wanted Mnisi to hammer down on that point, but you know what? We're cruising nicely with Mnisi. One thing about Mnisi, he's going to have like 6 different points going at the same time, okay? He's firing all horsepower at the same time, and then like he did, he's going to come back. He's going to come back. He has this tendency of coming back, making the Brigadier think we're done with that conversation, and then jiggy, he comes back. So I think he's going to come back to this point. So let's notate it here as members of the jury. Let's keep listening on. Oh my goodness. This case has taken a turn. Oof.
So part of the information that I briefed you about also had to do with the current case that we're busy with.
Yes, I think my recollection, my lord, it was to an extent that he said to them, I don't know at what stage, that he was at work and they briefed me on that one, and I said, I want to be present. But mainly it was the matters that they were seized with. But this particular one, as I was the lead IO, my lord, they had to brief me in terms of, and take guidance from me in terms of what must be done.
Now you meet accused number 2 at Carltonville. You then had a discussion, a consultation with him in respect of this case, which was the reason why you had to drive to Carltonville, not so?
Yes, my lord. But it wasn't a detailed discussion. It was, obviously, without repeating what I've said, my lord, that after the warning of the constitutional rights, it was to say, I have a reason to believe, and this is how it unfolded, that he was involved in the murder of SENZO MEYIWA. And the response, so this is how it unfolded. And I'm saying that because that's how the discussion took place, was to say, no, it's not correct. I was at work, and he specified the date, the 26th. That's what I took note of, that the date was then set by him. And that then led us to say, okay, since we say we're at work and we are not far from Sibanya mine, let's then follow that alibi. So that's how it unfolded. Yes.
Oh, the explanation is okay, no thanks. Then from there, you went on to follow his alibi. You went to the place where he was working, you got the information that you were looking for in relation to his alibi.
Yes, which said it was false from Mr. Mulder specifically in his presence.
Now, that is, according to you, the first time that you had an interaction with accused number 2, wherein you had to talk to him about this case, not so?
Yes, that's correct. So sorry to interject, sorry, I thought you were done. Yes, that is correct.
Thank you. Now, subsequent to you receiving the information that you got from his employees, did you have another discussion with him whilst at Carltonville in relation to this case?
Yes, correct, my lord. I obviously, the other part that I confronted him with,
yes,
was in relation to the identity kit, where I put to him that I'm also of the view that the identity kit, the suspect with the hoodie, according to my view, resembles him, which was then denied, my lord. That is the second discussion I had with him. He said, no, it's a question of mistaken identity. So it was denied by him to say the person is actually him on the identity kit.
Thank you. Now, you also told this court that in the content of your conversation, there was a point where accused number 2 then gave you the date of the 26th of October 2014. That is where your interest then started to develop about his possible involvement in this case. Is that not so?
No, the interest was already developed, my lord. Court will remember that when his name came up
Yes,
on the statement disposed by Mr. Absalom Zungu, the interest started there.
okay.
So when he said that, it's something that I took note, not that there was already a cold case analysis done on him and accused 1. Hence the other cases were already identified, and the focus of investigation or the interest to get to him was already there. So this is something that I noted to say, but how could he know the exact date, you know? So that's something that just stick on my mind to say, you know, I didn't give him the date, but he just gives me the date to say, on this specific day, I was at work, I could not have committed that offense.
I seriously don't know what kind of people Brigadier Ginenda has around him, work with him, but he cannot tell me that somebody mentioning the 26th of October raises alarm bells for him. It is not like it is a secret when SENZO MEYIWA died. It is also not a secret when the alleged intruders went into the Spaza house. It is also not a secret when Makumalo served her daughter's married baby daddy and his friends in her house. But As well, it is not a secret that there were several press conferences, including the identikit that was broadcasted by the media. Just a simple Google search can assist with that. But at the bare minimum, at the basics, remember foundation concept that we spoke about earlier? The Brigadier Kinenda, honestly, he should have asked Bongani Ntanzi, do you know who SENZO MEYIWA is? Do you know what date he was killed? I am sure if I ask that question, or if you ask that question, a lot of people would know that information, most especially if they are an Orlando Pirates fan or a Bafana fan, okay? That was not a small kind of passing away of SENZO MEYIWA. I think there was even a train, if I'm not mistaken, that carried people for free to the funeral. That might come as a surprise to the Brigadier. Maybe Bongani Ntanzi was one of those people, okay? But at the bare minimum, even birthdays, people remember birthdays. People tend to remember significant dates. But speaking of significant dates, there's one date in this case that I can say with my eyes closed, and shame on you, Mnisi, for verifying it with Ramasipili. Bongani Ntanzi's arrest date, for me, is the easiest date, of course, after the 26th of October 2014, to remember, okay? It's one of the easiest dates for me, 16 June 2020. What date does that signify? It aligns with Youth Day. Bongani Ntanzi was arrested on Youth Day. And, you know, so am I also guilty of conspiring on a crime because I remember that date and I know exactly when Bongani Ntanzi was arrested? No, absolutely not. But hey, we're talking about a brigadier who investigates from statements that are only commissioned last year. We're talking about a brigadier who waits for Absalom Zungu to come from the KZN to tell us a story about hearsay evidence and then tell the court that the Ntanzi brother who was being referenced to will not come to court, will not write a statement because of fear of retaliation. That is the kind of investigator we're dealing with. But you know what? I don't want to say too much. Let's pause it there. Let's continue listening to where else Umnisi takes the good cop.
Thank you. I don't know what your comment to this would be, because this is what Mohane told this court, that they, in the process of them investigating this other case against him, the case relating to cocaine, or the Banongoma case, they also, in one way or the other, they also introduced the subject of this case, and this is how they introduced it. Thank you. Mohane told this court that what is it that accused number 2 knows about the death of SENZO MEYIWA? And accused number 2 responded by saying that he heard that on the news because it was all over the media. Let me pause there. Do you have any comment?
My lord, that was, I don't want to venture to the discussion between Sergeant Mohane and the accused, particularly if he led that evidence in court. I was not here.
Yes, thank you.
So I would like to help, but I wasn't in court, my lord.
Yes, Lord. Can we just get clarity as to on which date Sergeant Mohane testified about this, the occasion, and as to exactly when did this discussion take place? Because Sergeant Mohane said several interactions with accused number 2.
I'm reading from my notes, my lord. Unless my colleague is suggesting that I should have gone into the record and go back and read and do as he's suggesting. If he feels that what I'm putting to this witness is not what Mohane said, then he should raise that. But I cannot be expected to come and say on such and such a date, this is what Mokgane said, and this is found in this portion, and this is what. I was taking notes. I can only refer him to my notes, and unfortunately, I do not have the date. I did not write a date on which this testimony Mokgane was preferring. So, but the gist of what I'm saying is, if he feels that what I'm putting to this witness is not what Mokgane says, then he needs to mention that. Then we go and revisit that. But to expect me to do as he does, it's going to be very cumbersome, my lord, because I'm going to request a postponement so that I go and read Mokgane's testimony in its entirety. And I think it goes up to 2 weeks. Does it please the court?
It's fine, we can proceed, my lord. We will correct the record at the later stage.
Thank you.
Should the need arise.
Thank you. Now,
I can only blame Advocate Baloy's objection to Dr. Sibanda's absence because of what was that? What exactly is Umnisi expecting? Not Umnisi. What exactly is Baloy expecting from Umnisi? Because he wants dates and normally he just needs to ask Dr. Sibanda the dates and he's right there, punches it in the computer and they can produce it. And you know, they've got their printer there and they print right there and there, but you know, it's multitasking is not a thing for Baloy, so he's struggling, he's lagging behind. He doesn't know, he doesn't remember when Mokgane was in court, because if he did, he would have just typed that date in and read the record himself and then objected had there been an issue. But you know what? That's what happened there with Ubaloy, and of course Umnisi dismissed him and said, if that's what you want, don't worry about it. I can do it. We're just going to adjourn. And just know it's 2 weeks that I have to read through just to get the stupid answer that you need. That is irrelevant to my line of questioning. Take several seats because you know what? I've got a brigadier to cross-examine. Now, going back to the brigadier obviously talks about his time in Carltonville with accused number 2, which for me is sus. I mentioned that in my earlier commentary, and he says I gave him, I had a discussion with Bongani Ntanzi after the warning of the constitutional right. I thought that was quite a smooth sneaking of those constitutional rights, but little did the brigadier know that that was going to be his downfall today. Because guess where Mnisi went after that? Guess what Mnisi wanted from the good brigadier? Oh my goodness. And then he says, and then from then on, they went to follow his alibi. For me, it's like the timing is a little bit coincidental. Someone who's only met and talked to Bongani Ntanzi then. And then he says, the alibi, of course, was false, and it was verified by Mr. Maula, and this was all done in the presence of Bongani Ntanzi. He mustn't forget Bongani Ntanzi is right there in the courthouse as well. And his memory is giving elephant, okay? Bongani Ntanzi's memory is that of an elephant. So I don't know if the brigadier will regret giving too much information in his answers, but let me end this video here. Of course, I don't want to make it too long, and you know what? We'll continue, okay? We will continue because part 2, no, this is part 3, I think. Part 3? Ooh. We're hitting those constitutional rights, those warning statements. Yep. All right. Let me end it here. Thanks for watching. You know the things that I like, comment, subscribe, and Dantani. And I'll catch you on my next upload. Mzansi Unfiltered. Checking out. Catch you on my next upload.
My lord, that's it.
Yeah.
As the court pleases, my lord, that's it.
Yeah.
If the grooves don't fit, acquit the 5 accused. Mnisi has done a fantastic job proving there was no match.